This story was sent to me, and I can't remember exactly who it was who sent it, but shout out to you. And this story right here parallels right almost exactly with the story I just talked about that came out of New York, involving a guy by the name of Augustin Garcia, who was going around doing these random attacks against people, mainly women, and he kept getting in and out of jail, in and out of jail, in and out of jail, like it was nothing. Well, this story right here is almost exactly the same, um, but this one was a bit more extreme. So this guy's name is Erik Fry. He's allegedly 34 years of age. And this is coming out of Warren, Michigan, where this guy was released without bond for domestic violence. And then he killed a woman. I'm not sure if it's the same woman or not, with a hammer after he was released. This story was posted on November 30th, 2021. Warren police said a man who was previously charged in a domestic violence case against a woman is now charged with her brutal murder after she was found bludgeoned with a hammer. So it was the same woman. Erik Fry has been charged with the murder of 34-year-old Amanda Harvey, who was found dead in a home on Julius Street in Warren on Monday. Warren police said Fry was Harvey's longtime boyfriend. According to court records, Fry was charged with a domestic violence case against the same woman, and he was released without having to pay a bond on that charge. Now listen to that. He basically went into jail and walked out. Went in and walked out and didn't have to pay a thing. He was due in court on those charges Tuesday, just hours after the woman was found dead. Warren Police Commissioner Bill Dwyer said officers has been to this house before, as recently as Sunday when neighbors said a friend of the victim was worried about her. The entire incident is tragically regrettable. I am appreciative for the hard work of the men and women of this police department and the fact that this dangerous individual is in custody and no longer posing a threat to the citizens of Warren. He was already posing a threat, but y'all let him literally go back out there. I don't know what is going on in some of these cities that's allowing criminals, no matter who they are, just walk in and walk out like it's a revolving door and just let them do whatever they want. And I've always said this: when you arrest somebody for something such as domestic violence and you just let them back out like it's nothing, the next time they come in contact with that person or another person, they're going to do something worse. In his case, he did. He went from just hitting this person or throwing them around to killing them with a hammer. Now you want to keep him in jail. Nah, y'all should have been kept his ass in jail from the jump. Now a woman is dead. This is actually playing more of being their fault than it is his. Granted, yes, it's his fault because he committed the act, but it's also their fault because of the negligence and not taking this seriously. Just like that story in New York that I just did. Y'all let this man go around robbing people and he keeps getting out over and over again. Or the one in New Hampshire who had the assistance with his family of violating those teenage girls. And you give him a slap on the wrist. I said, when you keep constantly doing that, all they're going to do is go out and do it again to somebody else and be even more violent. When they arrived that day, everything seemed in order. A day later, they were called back to the home and found her body. The caller was Fry. Fry, who was deaf, called 911 and told dispatchers that he just killed a woman, and police immediately arrived at the home and found the brutal scene. So this guy has no hearing. This is a deaf man who has killed his now deceased girlfriend. Macomb County Prosecutor Peter Lucido said he was outraged that Fry was released on the previous domestic violence charge without a bond. Someone's got to be outraged because that's crazy. I want to know what the women advocate groups got to say about this, if they gonna say it at all. It's not like they ain't gonna hear about it. They hear about everything else. Now, had this guy been a black man, they probably would have heard about it. Maybe, possibly. But yeah, it's some, like I said, it's some psychos out here. And they said this guy is deaf. They ain't sure to throw that part in there about him being deaf. He wasn't that hard of hearing to take out his girlfriend. And that must have been crazy for him to do, because if him being deaf, that means he couldn't even hear his girlfriend's screams. All he could see was her actions. Now, I don't know if the girlfriend was deaf herself, but yeah, that's crazy. But he looks like a great value version of a meth-induced Matthew McConaughey. Like, when I first saw this picture, that's the first person that, actually, no, he looks like everything I said minus Matthew McConaughey. He looks like the lead singer of Coldplay. That's who he looks like. That's who he looks like. That's the first person. I don't know where Matthew McConaughey came from, but that's who he looks like. The lead singer of Coldplay. I forgot his name. But they need to lock his deaf ass up. I don't care if he's hearing impaired. The guy's a murderer, point blank, period. And he's an abuser. Him being deaf didn't stop him from laying his hands on his woman or killing her. So, as far as I'm concerned, he's free game. Y'all let me know what y'all think about this down in the comments.